Hello. All right. I am so happy to be here with you today. And I want to talk about something that I don't think really gets enough coverage. And that's like what I call rumbling with weight loss. It's the deciding factor of how much you're willing to sacrifice without resentment as you progress through your journey. And here's what I mean by that. I have a client, she really likes a certain like Haagen-Dazs Ben & Jerry ice cream is 1,000 calories, right? And she is really struggling with letting it go. And I explained to her she's got options, right? One, she has the Haagen-Dazs or whatever it is so many days out of the week and she plans for it and she works it into her calories. Or she was actually questioning, can I have it every day? Absolutely, you can have it every day. But what you have to realize, and this is something she came to as a natural consequence, was doing that behavior, sacrificing 1,000 calories on a pint of ice cream, left her very little food for the day and made her very hungry, right? So could you? Yes. Is it necessarily the best course of action? Maybe, maybe not, right? So each individual is different. And what I explained to her in one of my messages is right now, what you're doing is rumbling with weight loss. What am I willing to truly sacrifice right now without resentment? What am I willing to give up in order to get the scale to move? And the other option I presented to her was there's a lot of low calorie ice cream alternatives, right? There's Halo Top, Enlighten, yada, yada, yada. You could pick one of those and basically slash the calories in half. But if you're somebody who, and I'm using these words lovingly, an ice cream snob, and you want to eat the specific kind, you've got to make that decision. Where we run into problems with traditional dieting and this whole rumbling process, and why most people will only adhere to it for a few weeks, is because long-term sacrifice of the things we really, really love and enjoy is hard to do. And we have to figure out what it is our give and take for how much we can give up in order to make progress and move forward in our journey. And when I first started, and this is a consistent changing process. When I started, I was very much like my client. I wanted all the ice cream. I wanted all the pizza, and I was working my tail off to figure out how to make all that happen on a regular basis. And what I started doing was having the natural consequence of being hungry because I was saving up calories or points for the pizza, for the ice cream. And then I said, you know what? If I want to stick with this long term, I am not willing to necessarily do this daily, like maybe getting it down to once or twice a week and then once or twice a month and finding better alternatives. And I want to encourage you to remember in every moment, the you today is not the you of 5 years from now. If you think about you 5 years ago, you've no doubt made changes and improvements. And the reason I want to encourage you to just think of this whole process differently. Ask yourself, what am I willing to give up without resentment today to move myself forward? Not the fear of how I can never have this thing again, not the worry of will I be spending the rest of my life miserable. Today, what can you give up today in this moment now? Had you asked me at the beginning of my journey, would I have New York style pizza a couple times a year and full-fledged ice cream a few times a year, and I would be okay with these alternatives that I learned how to make? I just said, heck no, I just shut down shop. I would have been walking, right? Because that was not in my thought process at the time. A lot of us want to be at somebody else's end when we're at our own beginning. What I want you to say to yourself is, what can I give up this week without resentment? If you're having a pint of ice cream a day, a bag of chips a day, going out to eat and getting a large, fry and whatever, would you be willing to downgrade the size? Would you be willing to cut the portion in half? Would you be willing to alternate days of having versus not having? What are you willing to do? And realize that's enough. You don't have to kill yourself and be where somebody else is that's maybe a few years, few months, heck, a few days out from where you are. You need to assess where you are, experience that rumbling process we just talked about, say, what is it I'm willing to sacrifice to get to the next level? And don't worry about the sacrifices that you're going to make And honestly, now they don't feel like sacrifices. But then, oh my gosh, I would have felt like you were trying to kill me in a very painful way. Ice cream and pizza, not part of my every week repertoire, or heck, almost every other day repertoire. I wouldn't have understood that. And I didn't have to at that point. I just had to move the ball down the line. And that's the problem, is we don't want to just move the ball down the line. We want to be at the goal. Well, there is no goal. That's the secret. You're going to be doing these behaviors and making these improvements until the day you die, which basically means get comfortable, buckle up, because once you start kicking the ball down the line, you're just going to keep kicking, and the line's just going to keep going, and it doesn't end. There is no final goal, okay? And I think when we can all wrap our minds around that and realize, oh, it's just a little bit of improvement every day, just a little bit of improvement every week, we can really make a huge difference. So I just want to come to you as your coach and let you know that you do not have to conquer it all today. What you're willing to sacrifice today is enough. What you're willing to sacrifice tomorrow is enough. Reminding yourself that where you will be 5 years from now is not where you are today. But you don't even have to think about that. You just have to kick the ball down the line today. You guys have a great one. I'll talk to you soon.